You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD, joined this week by the two Chris's.
Wah!
Chris Triplett, Chris McFeely. Welcome, gentlemen.
Wow.
Woohoo! Yes.
How's it
Yes,
going?
sir.
It is Fanboy Versus the brawl of the year. Avengers versus X-Men. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. There's some Eye of the Tiger. Eye of the Tiger, it's the thrill of the fight.
Dig it, JD.
Yes, so we are going to be talking about Avengers versus X-Men, which opened this week in comic book store shelves all around the country and world, for that matter.
It so floors me though when you talk about it actually being a fight, and we're going to talk about the issue later. But just like the first page where it shows like these are the Avengers up here at the top, and the X-Men down at the bottom. There's like five guys. There's five guys on the Avengers side, and like everybody else is up here.
Well, there's two guys that are right in the middle.
Yeah, they're right in the middle, but if you look at the cover, you can tell which side they're on if the cover's accurate.
Yeah.
Well, they had the. Well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Could get started in there, but let's leave it.
Yeah. So it's gonna be. It's fun. I think it's a good start, but we'll get to that obviously later. We're also going to be talking about Justice League International, Action Comics, and Ultimate Spider-Man. So good lineup. I am the odd man out with the non-majorly loved comic. So anyway, because I love JLI.
Well, I'm sure somebody loves JLI.
I do, and I'm sure other people. I'm sure
somebody loves Hitler, but you know,
it's like doesn't mean it's good. No, people buy that, right? How many JLI people do you have for your poll there, sir?
Hey, six books got canceled, and that wasn't one of them.
Exactly.
So
there you go. Yeah, so there's that.
That means something.
That's right. You know,
there are more people that are reading that than reading that war book that everybody said was fantastic.
Right.
True.
So there you go. All right. So last week we had no news. This week, some news.
Some news. Whoa. Some weird news.
Yes. So what is it?
Like the only real news, like comic news, is that DC's gonna do a He-Man miniseries.
What?
Hell yes.
That's not an April Fool's thing?
I
No,
know.
it's not.
It was
a 6-issue He-Man and the Masters of the Universe miniseries by James Robinson and Billy Tan.
What is up with that? Oh my god.
What is going on? What the hell?
It's like I'm in Bizarro World. I'm like,
Well, I mean, so are the characters, because the plot of this thing is that Skeletor has discovered a way to reshape reality, making himself ruler of Castle Grayskull while living the heroes of Eternia as peasants with no memories of their former lives.
Okay.
oh.
I'm interested in this. Are you not interested in this?
No.
Well, it's not an uninteresting premise, you know.
just
I
seems
mean, you know, if
Okay,
the best thing
it's a Masters of the Universe comic coming out.
That's
in
one strike
2012.
against it.
All right. So bad thing one.
DC
Strike
Comics
one.
is putting it out.
Strike two.
And the creative team is not shit. What is up with
James
this?
Robinson? James Cry for Justice Robinson?
Oh come on,
Yeah,
come on!
we'll cry
I
for
like
justice
to look
there.
back to JSA. Look back to
Yes,
JSA.
okay.
It all depends on what you get right, though. Do you get Cry for Justice or do you
Or
get
you
JSA?
get-
You know.
Hey, I never
Yeah.
finished that mini, so that doesn't count.
Okay. Well, there may have been a reason for that. You know,
Wow.
and that premise too, it just strikes like, all right, so we have this property, Masters of the Universe. What we're gonna do is not do that. We're gonna do something that's
Like, we have
completely
this
unlike
property.
that.
It's so unpopular that all the franchise owners can do with it is sell a couple thousand toys direct to adult fans via their poorly maintained internet store. Let's make a comic of that. I get that, like, the people that are reading, because, young people don't read comics. Young people don't read comics. We know that as a generalization. It's all the 30-somethings, 20, 30-somethings that read comics. And that's the only audience He-Man actually has. I'm not knocking it. This is a statement of fact. This is the only audience He-Man has now, is its adult fans. Like G.I. Joe. I don't believe G.I. Joe has a child fan base anymore, but it has a big enough adult collector base that it's actually still able to survive in stores. He-Man is physically incapable of surviving in stores, as has been proven now on its adult collector base alone.
They can't even put He-Man toys with DC toys and sell them.
And they can't even... I mean,
I would totally buy that Superman if it wasn't partnered with that shit He-Man toy.
I mean, to digress for a moment, editorialize for a moment. Like, you get a lot of people who claim that the problem with the He-Man, from the 2002 He-Man line, was that it was all Skeletors and He-Man.
That did hurt it, though, because they were everywhere.
Well, it hurt it in the sense that... Well, the only reason it hurt it was because no children gave anything resembling a fuck.
Yeah.
And so they did not buy Skeletor and He-Man. I mean, if you can't sell the Prime 2 characters out of your children's toy franchise to children, then something is wrong. And
how did the Lord of the Rings toys sell? I mean, did they sell?
I don't think they sold either.
I don't remember.
But it's like, if you can't sell those... So children didn't buy them. Adults, obviously, adult collectors didn't buy them. They piled up, so distribution suffered as a consequence. I mean, there's a knock-on effect, but the prime root of the fact that those toys did not sell is not because kids didn't want them. Because kids, Spider-Man toy lines, Batman toy lines, even Transformers now with Bumblebee, kids buy the popular characters. Kids didn't care about He-Man. Kids didn't buy He-Man. He-Man didn't get restocked. All that can be done with He-Man now is that they can sell adult toys to adult collectors via online. It's pretty pathetic. In fact, I mean, I have to salute them to some extent for the fact that they even soldier on doing it.
Well, the only way that they can is by, one, having shitty maintenance of their website, and two, by horribly overcharging and raping the people that actually want to buy that stuff.
Well, what price are they now?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you have to buy...
They're $25, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
they went up.
I didn't think $20.
They were $20 at one point.
Yeah.
But you have to buy a subscription as well.
Well, no, that's an alternate thing, isn't it?
No, you don't.
Oh, okay.
That's a full fan club style.
If you want to make sure that you don't miss a figure, because they sell out quick, because they have such limited quantities, I guess. You can do the subscription, and then you're guaranteed. I think there's so many figures in the year that you're guaranteed, and then there are figures that fall out of the subscription.
But you're paying for those figures before you even know what they are.
Yeah, you don't even know what they are. You're
paying. So you're paying in advance,
like $150 or $200 in advance for not knowing if you're going to get anything you want.
But let's be honest. I mean, if they were mass producing those figures, they would not be $25. They would be
not if they were in stores. No, but I mean, I didn't think $25 is an especially bad price for something that's being produced.
It's not bad if you're buying one figure, but if you're getting them all, it gets pretty expensive.
Yeah, and that's
I was going to say what a terrible system because you may not want all of them, but I mean I think He-Man fans would probably agree that they are, or maybe they would be in denial over the fact that as a fandom they're so starved for that they buy anything they get. They buy anything that's offered them.
That's and that's kind of what I mean.
Let's say Transformers went down this route, and they don't sell. I wouldn't complain if Hasbro was selling something through a website, as long as that website doesn't, make it so that your credit card gets stolen.
Yeah,
I would be fine with that.
There's a whole other thing, isn't there?
There.
But
the thing about Fun Pub is at least that up until this year you could still always had time to buy the toy if you wanted.
Yeah.
It didn't disappear 5 minutes after it went up. But
I go back to to the question
did I pick the wrong year to buy that toy?
Everything comes down to property ownership, though. I mean, is this something that DC acquired that they had? Is this something that Warner Brothers has or something?
I think it's the Mattel DC connection because Mattel puts out the DC toys. Yeah. And Matty Collector does a lot of stuff with DC stuff on their website. So it makes perfect sense, and then they package the toys together through Toys R Us. It makes perfect sense, honestly. Hey, who are you going to put out your comic? Marvel. No, it's going to be DC Comics.
Yeah.
Well, I forget who was doing the last Masters of the Universe comic. Was it Image? No, it wasn't Image. Was it? Or was it just an independent?
It was one of the third independent party places.
Yeah, I thought it was. I don't remember what they went out of business, and anyway, that's why the comic stopped. I mean, nothing about the 2002.
I don't know. I think maybe they were looking across the aisle and said, look at Dynamite. They're putting out those Voltron comics. You know, maybe we should try that out, you know.
Is that Voltron comics selling, JD? You still buying that?
No, God, no.
Hey,
Year one, in fact, just came out this
Voltron,
week.
they've been wise enough to realize that their audience is the adult market.
Yeah.
And they're selling their Voltron through Matty Collector, and that's it, you know. They didn't make a play for the young market anymore. You know, it's sad. I mean, I don't know why, but I bought an awful lot of the 2002 Masters of the Universe figures. They were very nice figures.
Yeah.
But, you know, got to the end of it all, and I was like, what?
Were you a fan of, like, the old Masters of the Universe? Were you, like, a fan of that back in the day?
I was when I was a child.
Yeah, I was.
I tried to rewatch some of it.
Somewhere.
I actually spent money buying some of the single DVDs. I think I got about 3 discs in, 3 separate DVD purchases in. Convinced to buy it because it had really, really nice extras like good fan commentaries, story Bible extracts.
The
really
DVD box sets are really, really nice. As far as, like,
But,
fans...
Yeah,
the fan
unfortunately,
base, it's
the
really
show
nice.
is not.
I'll put it this way. Somewhere, my mother has a picture of me with my He-Man role-play set, with my power sword and my shield, standing in front of the television, watching He-Man in nothing but my underwear. So, yeah, I was obviously a big fan when I was a kid. But Transformers then took over, and that was pretty much it for He-Man.
You see, I mean, the thing about He-Man was, I mean, really, like, the only thing that He-Man has going for it, I'm not trying to rag on it here, but the thing He-Man has behind it, and a big part of its success, is that it was first. It was the first show they made after the regulations got changed that stopped the advertising of toys through animated programming. Then some actual, like, shows with a good premise came along and stomped the balls out of He-Man.
Yeah.
And He-Man He-Man is not susceptible to, I mean, I think the 2002 series really proved that He-Man, and indeed the New Adventures, proved that He-Man is not susceptible to reinvention the way Transformers is.
Right.
To pull a random example, you know, Transformers is, broadly speaking, Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. You may tick that, and you may spin that as you see fit. He-Man is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe battle to stop Skeletor from stealing the powers of Castle Grayskull. And, you know, you're kind of locked into your whole scenario there, and when they tried to change it for the New Adventures, it off in space, and even though I used to think the cartoon was quite good, Campbell Lane Skeletor was awesome, Gary Chalk was He-Man, it was good. I enjoyed that show. It was something resembling a teenager, but regardless, it didn't work because it was weird sci-fi He-Man. It didn't go down so good.
Well, I mean, the thing is that it doesn't have something else. You know, I mean, at least for like Transformers, yeah, it's Autobots fighting Decepticons, but it's also like, oh yeah, and they transform. Yeah. You know? It's like there's a gimmick that's involved as well. With He-Man, it's just like, here's a guy in his underwear. Yeah.
Is the problem that it's fantasy, basically, and like kids just aren't into it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's not techie enough. It's not now.
Well, He-Man came out about the same time as Conan the Barbarian. It was basically Conan the Barbarian for kids.
Yeah.
And that has like completely gone out of know the thought process.
It's
time.
not even the fantasy of today. Like, well, okay, no, I say the fantasy of today, air quotes. You compare it to, say, Lord of the Rings, which was kind of when did the first Lord of the Rings film come out?
Ooh,
2003, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of concurrent with He-Man, and that was megamongus. He-Man is really simplistic fantasy. It's real barbarians and dragons, and that just don't fly. That's just not.
That's not what people are after.
No surprise that didn't. I mean, He-Man really lacks it lacks a coherent universe. Even it is magic and technology, as the plot demands, as any writer randomly sees fit at any one episode. I mean,
so is that the problem that we're running into with Thundercats now? Because I haven't kept up with it. But Thundercats, has it been canceled or has it not? I haven't kept up with the news on it.
All we know is there's nothing new in the next year, but it could be back in.
It's like it is because I go to my local Walmart and all the Thundercats toys are on clearance.
Well, that's because they're not selling.
well, you know what?
That's what I'm saying. You can go selling. Does that mean
I know you can go to a bunch of other podcasts to hear me rail on Thundercats. You know, I really want to like it, but I think its prime failing is the fact that it has spent all its time, the whole first half of the season, up until the last 2 episodes, only Lion-O and the guest spot characters ever receive any character. Nobody else had a plot around them. Mm-hmm. Hence, the viewing audience, children, were not given any insight into these characters. Kids aren't stupid. You know, you have to give kids a reason to like the characters on the screen, even if it's just a simplistic cartoon personality. Nobody has a personality on Thundercats. No. They never have anything to do with them. They're all, yes, Lion-O, no Lion-O, please, thank you, Lion-O, can I have another? Right. Don't do that, Lion-O, whatever. And it's no surprise that kids did not buy the toys off the back of that, if that is the case. I mean, we'll see if it comes back. It wouldn't surprise me if it didn't. I would really like it to, and I also think that the technology and magic thing has been very badly misjudged. It's like, I get what they were doing. The flip of the idea is that the cats are the magic users and Mumra has the tech, because I mean I really like the visual reinvention of Mumra's pyramid as a spaceship and everything.
Yeah, I like all the changes and stuff that they did with it to kind of flip it up.
But it's also immensely dumb, because Mumra is also a sorcerer for some reason.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the reason is because he's a fucking animate mummy.
Yeah.
That's magic fantasy stuff, you know.
Shit, he just has a Mumra-mobile. That's all I care about.
I know, that's the stupid thing, though. What is that?
So
it's a Mumra-mobile. There's nothing bad about that.
So all of this in mind, though, why are they doing a Masters of the Universe comic?
Well, to get back to the point.
Because I'll probably buy it, honestly.
I'm a little tempted to buy it myself, to be honest. But the audience of He-Man is the audience that reads comics. So this is not going to capture any new fans. No. This is not even going to bother being targeted at children. They are just directing the comic at the fans that are already there, which is the same with G.I. Joe and the same with Transformers.
I guess it's just an excuse to sell something then.
It's only a 6-issue miniseries. Yeah. It's not like they're bursting in with an ongoing He-Man or whatever.
Yeah, that would be really crazy.
The premise is a little trite, but you know, it kind of says an awful lot that let's do the He-Man comic by completely not doing the traditional He-Man setup.
Yeah. So we're guaranteed to, 1, confuse people that know very little about He-Man, and 2, piss off people that do like He-Man.
Yeah, you know, that's the idea. That it's like, what? What is this? He-Man? Turn head.
Yeah, and the hardcore fans will be like, smash!
Oh, I don't think so. I think they'll get it.
No? Okay. All right. Any other news?
There was some new Avengers TV spots this week.
I hear it's smashingly good.
So is this like a thing or something? Because you guys made it out like this huge thing that's going on. It's like, oh, you have to see this. You have to see this. Everybody's talking about it. I thought it was good, but still, I mean,
Hey. 2 words, all right? Hulk, smash. That's all you need. I mean,
integrated. Like my trousers just came apart in pieces. They were just I mean,
come on now. Hulk smashed back in the Incredible Hulk years ago. Okay, that happened. Okay, he said it.
No, it's not the sentence. It's not the line. It's the grin he comes out with immediately thereafter.
Like, yay!
It's out to have as much fun as I am having watching the Hulk. I mean, I watched it at work, you know, so I had to be suppressed, you know, because people around me. But you know, the reaction I had was, and my hands went to my mouth. You know, I watched it at home. I was sitting on the floor just because I just turned the laptop on and sitting on the floor, put it on there, and before I knew what had happened, I had flopped onto one side, curled up in a ball, and gone. I watched it a few more times just to check, and I'm physically like incapable of not having that reaction. Hulk, smash.
It's great. You should watch it. Check it out. We're getting close too.
Yeah, but that's not too far now. Avengers is it's
for you.
So you get it in April, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's 4 weeks away for you. Well, just under 4 weeks away for you guys.
May 4th is when we're getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
It's gonna be a busy week for me. I've got BotCon. I come back. I've got a friend coming to visit, and then Avengers. I'm very excited.
Well, so see, well, we're not doing a show that weekend, so you won't even have to listen to me lord it over you.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're skipping too.
I don't want to hear your disappointment, and I also at the same time don't want to hear your happiness. I don't want to hear that.
You don't want to hear anything. There will be nothing.
Yeah.
Just nothing.
Sweet.
I've really been enjoying the trailers so far because we do keep seeing a little extra every time, but it still feels like we really haven't seen very much of it.
I know. I still have no. I mean, and I was talking about this before the show, but even for the trailers and stuff that we've seen, it's like, okay, we got the helicarrier, sweet. There's the Hulk stuff, whatever. I still have no idea like who these extra people are that Loki's working with. We're not really clear on that.
I think I got spoiled on it, but
I don't want to know. But there's still a lot of things that have been kind of left open. So. Other than knowing that the team comes together, which is going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's it, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, it's like slowly, I hope some of these like films can figure out, it's like, hey, don't give away your whole movie, in the trailers. And I know that's more on marketing.
I was afraid to watch more trailers because I've already seen so many, and I was like, do I want to keep watching? Is one of them going to give away too much? Because I already watched a lot of footage, but hopefully that's 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the movie or something.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of good Stark lines and stuff that we haven't even gotten close to. So.
Yeah. I mean, because there have been a lot of moments in the trailers, like when the helicarrier comes up out of the...
Yep.
I'm more interested now in what I haven't seen,
Yep.
Must watch all the films in a little marathon, in the week building up.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Please don't make this be a Green Lantern, Lord.
Shut up! Don't! You're gonna jinx it.
God!
Don't say its name. We can forget it existed if you don't say its name.
Let's say it 3 times, it will appear, and it'll cut my throat.
Right.
But hey, speaking of Green Lantern, that's a cartoon on television.
Mm.
Are you
I've
warming
been
up to
watching
this
that.
week? Because I've been enjoying it.
I warmed up to it this week now. I enjoyed the pilot.
Or
Didn't think a heck of a,
You know?
didn't think a lot of the subsequent 2 or 3 episodes, but this week's I really quite enjoyed. Because we got Mogo. That was awesome. Because you didn't even. I mean, spoilers. It was Mogo. Yeah. But it's like I didn't even realize that's what it was happening until about halfway through the episode, and I was like, wait a minute.
I thought it was happening, but I was thinking, but no, it can't be. Wouldn't they already have him by this point? But
yeah, I mean that's one of those wobbly things where it's like. They don't. You don't know what exists and what doesn't in Green Lantern. It's the same sort of problem I always thought Wolverine and the X-Men had. You never knew what existed and what didn't. They'd fought Mr. Sinister, they'd fought Magneto, the Genosha existed, but they'd never met the Hellfire Club of the Phoenix. You don't know what you're supposed to know and what you're not already with it. But
it sort of feels like you would have had a better base of knowledge if the first episode would have been Hal gets the ring or something. Because then you're at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. You're right there at the start. But also having Saint Walker in there but clearly establishing that set up for the future. So we've really got our first subplot with this episode as well.
Yeah, I saw him and I didn't immediately think, hey, that's Saint Walker, and then the way he started talking and the way he started, I was like,
it's Saint Walker. Okay, I got to watch this then. I'm sold. I'm terribly behind on all my animation as far as Marvel and DC goes. So.
Yeah.
Well, we've got Spectacular Spider-Man. It's probably a bigger talking point now. That launched.
You mean Ultimate?
Sorry,
don't
call
it Spectacular.
He's trying to wish.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah.
Call it Spectacular Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man. I do apologize. My brain just, what's that? Good Spider-Man cartoon? Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man's first 2 episodes aired last week. Now the third's aired today, but have you seen it, Triplet?
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen it, so hopefully it'll be up for me to watch now before I go to bed this evening.
If you saw the first 2 episodes, it's more of the same.
That's good. Well, what do you think?
I'm not digging it so far. I mean, is there something wrong with me?
I think I'm basically digging it, but that's because I am definitely approaching it from a position of lowered expectations, because I know it'll never be as good as Spectacular was. And more to the point, it is like tangibly skewing younger than any recent Marvel cartoon, short of Superhero Squad.
Yeah.
It's definitely targeted at a younger audience, and I'm not gonna.
I mean, I don't hate it. I see potential in it. It's just there's a couple of things like I think that they do that Teen Titans thing way too often. It almost gets annoying, you know.
The cutaways,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Well,
I mean, they do it like for everything. Oh my God, there's so many of them in this new episode.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with them, is that they are too numerous. But I think on their own merits, they're quite well staged on their own merits. You know, they know enough to be brief. And you generally get a good
and then they don't
laugh
get
out of them.
a lot of laughs out of them. Like there's like been 2 or 3 so far that I've been like, you know, it just like caught me off guard. Like the Mexican Spider-Man, I think, just caught me off guard, and I just it's like,
well, that was funny, you know.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, no, I suppose actually for anybody listening who hasn't watched it, the shtick is that this is Spider-Man as he is recruited into S.H.I.E.L.D. to be trained by Nick Fury along with a team of other young heroes, including Nova, Iron Fist, Pyro Man, and White Tiger, to be the ultimate Spider-Man. And his day-to-day life aside from that, there's some kind of creepiness going on. Norman Osborn wants Spider-Man for Oscorp rather than to let S.H.I.E.L.D. have him, and he's got Dr. Octopus on staff, who is his liaison with the supervillain world, trying to make this happen, or make Spidey not be connected to S.H.I.E.L.D. It's kind of like, it's like part Malcolm in the Middle, part
It's very Malcolm in the Middle now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's like it's got the moments where Spidey like turns and addresses the audience, and that I'm cool with. I am cool with the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm thinking Malcolm in the Middle, and I'm thinking young, nerdy, teenage guy. It works for me. I'm making that connection. I wouldn't be surprised if like maybe that if they were to say they had that in mind when they came up with the idea. You know, him addressing the audience and explaining his world for you instead of having to go through the motions of telling the origin story of all the characters over and over again. That we have Spidey.
I did like that about like the first episode. How he would turn. It's like, oh yeah, this is like this person, and this is how I know him, and all that. I like that. You know, that works. You know, it's just yeah.
But then in the Ally McBeal category, it's got these little cutaways. I call them Ally McBeal because they're a little more Ally McBeal than they are Family Guy. But I imagine more nerds are making Family Guy comparisons. The little cutaway fantasies that Spidey has, and which I think are quite well timed and know enough to be quite brief in and of themselves, but are a bit over numerous.
Oh yeah, I mean they do it kind of too often to the point that like you really don't know if the story is actually moving forward at sometimes because like in the new episode, I'm not gonna say what happens in it, but like they go to take down this villain that's in it, and it's a pretty big deal, and I'm thinking this dude's like gonna murder the shit out of you guys, and like every 5 seconds you get this Spidey on with a jetpack or something.
There's no sense of peril. It does sort of weaken the threat a little. I mean, I think it's surer of itself out of the gate than Teen Titans was, because people are making a lot of comparisons with these little art quirks the way Teen Titans had. But Teen Titans, when it started, it really didn't actually know how to implement that stuff. I'll never forget the first episode of Teen Titans. Robin and Cyborg have an argument over Cyborg's performance in the fight, and it's told in the form of them silhouetted shouting at one another, and the other Titans as little tiny chibis, like terrified, cowering, watching them argue. And I'm like, that's not selling this argument as a serious thing. That's turning it into a joke. And that kind of continued for the whole first season of Teen Titans, that they never knew tonally when to match up that stuff with the rest of the show. Now, they got a handle on it later, but Spidey, I think, has a much better handle on that out of the gate. I could see it being played as a
that's not my only real problem with it. Also, like my problem, like I was telling Brian today, and I don't want to come down on it because it's not bad. It's just like I'm still holding that torch for Spectacular Spider-Man and that. I know that's what that is. But like I was telling him, it's like Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends. If his Amazing Friends was made up of all these obscure Marvel characters that Bendis is just like totally in love with, because that's what it basically is.
Well,
You know,
I don't
his
think that as much
amazing friends are Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and White Tiger. White Tiger, who was a character that made a pretty big appearance in his Daredevil run. We know he loves Luke Cage, New Avengers, Iron Fist, of course.
I don't
and then
know.
there's this Nova guy.
I'm not inclined to blame Bendis for that, because Bendis isn't some dominating factor in the production of the thing. You know, I mean, it's all, I mean, that's a new White Tiger who's appearing in Avengers Academy right now. You know, that's a new Nova who's just appeared in AVX.
Yeah,
it
that's
just seems like a strange list of characters. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah,
it just seems like they don't really fit. You know, with kind of like, we're gonna put you with this team of these other characters.
Nova and White Tiger work, I feel, to me. It's de-aging Power Man and Iron Fist. That's the weird one to me. You know, taking them back.
And again, you know, I don't dislike the characters and how they're being done, I guess, in the show. It's just they're kind of weird characters to put with Spider-Man. You know, to put like up front there and like, here's the stars. You know, it's like here's Spider-Man and here's like this character you've never heard of. You know, that, also can, has powers and does all this other stuff. And, hey, go buy his action figure, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's one fact that can't be denied, is that it is clearly, and along with the skewing younger, it's a very toyetic show. You know, well, I'm sure Spidey's going to wind up with situational suits that he'll wear an awful lot in different episodes.
There's another way to look at this, though, in terms of being multicultural. I mean, obviously, you've got...
No.
Well, I mean, okay. You're saying no, except the characters you're mentioning as obscure are, one of them is black, one of them is Latino.
Yeah, she was a full face mask.
But that doesn't mean the character isn't Latino. I'm just saying, like, if...
Yeah, I could definitely...
Tiger, you see her without the mask, though, because she goes to the school.
Yeah, that's true. You do it. Well, yeah, okay, so, I mean, an Iron Fist... he's not actually Asian, but he's got the Zen spiritualism stereotype covered as well there, you know. So, I mean, that's probably... And I hadn't put all those pieces together, but that seems about right now that you mention it.
So, cool. That's fantastic, but we should probably do comics.
Well, hang on. Just before we get to the comics, there's also no amount of rationalization that will make Spider-Man having a motorcycle make sense.
What? Of course he does. Haven't you seen the toys? He always has a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's so toyetic, and it shoots webs, and it rides along the webs.
Before we move away from it, though, the animation is awesome. I will say that. Yes, the animation looks really nice. It's a really well-animated show.
I mean, I still find that it was also able to strike the important balance of Spider-Man. It's a sort of balance I think we've mentioned before when we've talked about Slott Spider-Man, is that as much fun as he may be having when he's Spidey, quipping, beating the villains or whatever, some aspect of his life always does suffer. And in this one, it's that he forgets to buy the cake Aunt May has told him to get so they can celebrate Uncle Ben's birthday. You know, and you're like, oh, nice job, Spidey. Oh, no. You know, there is that sense of, oh, fucked it up again, Spidey, you know. And I like what they've done with Aunt May in this one as well.
She's like every woman and she can do everything?
Yeah, she does yoga and she bowls. She's busy. Not that she's an every woman, it's just that she's active and busy, and she's not some doddering old wheat cake cooking house. Just shopping.
Yeah, she's not this character that could like die at any second.
Yeah,
you know, just looking at her, she's like doing everything. You know,
and that's good because Aunt May. That's been a trend doing Aunt Mays in recent years. You know, the Ultimate Spider-Man, of course, did the more sturdy, younger Aunt May, and Spectacular even had a good, an active, like more assertive Aunt May in it as well. You know?
Yeah, I liked her in that. The whole thing where he had the cell phone, he had to call her all the time. You know, that was kind of well done. Yeah, I like that. That was. Man, I wish they would just make season 3. Damn it, I miss that.
I know. I mean, you know, it's not like Spectacular was actually killed to make way for this, but it really feels like it was. No, it's not the ratings were bad. It was the whole change was happening. That was a Warner Brothers made show, you know, and then Disney.
Yeah, it was like on WB or CW or something, and then it moved to Disney XD, and then it just
And
I
of
don't
course,
even know where
Disney bought
came out.
Marvel, so that was
Yeah.
going to have to stop. So a new Disney Marvel show could be made, and but it doesn't, stop the feeling like it died to make way for the same way that it took a long time for it to not feel like animated died to make way for Transformers Prime, and it's also kind of dumb in that we know Ultimate Spider-Man has been in the works for an awfully long time because they were talking about it not long after Spectacular died, but it's taken so long to actually come out that the comic it's named after now has nothing to do with it. It's a completely different character in the comic that it's named after. And speaking of that comic, maybe we should talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
probably
Let's do
should.
that. Go for it, Chris Triplett. Move it along.
We'll talk about that. And by the way, Avengers is still awesome in season 2. Watch it, Jay.
Yes. I'm working on it.
Motherfucker.
Oh,
Okay.
I know. I did watch the first episode of the new Avengers, so I am caught up on that. So I didn't watch the one from this morning. So
Awesome.
anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 9. Well, I don't think I've talked about Ultimate in a while. I think it's been a while. This issue basically just starts off with, it's kind of like a continuing from the last issue where Spidey had a tangle with the Reener, and it's funny because he's all tied up in the reins, and the cops show up and they're giving him a hard time, and I guess Miles, he's never fought the Reener before. This would be the first time, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
First time fought nearly everybody.
And he beat him, but he doesn't know how to get out of the reins. He's all tied up. And he just gets this funny little scene from this cop that's kind of giving him a hard time, and basically, saying, get the hell out of here, kid. You shouldn't be here, and making jokes about how, at least the old Spider-Man had gone through puberty yet, and then he's like, no, man, I'm 30, and I hit puberty. And the cop's like, maybe this morning, It's just a funny little scene, and I don't remember, this guy, he wasn't in the old Ultimate Spider-Man books, was he? I mean, did he show up in it?
I think he started to appear after it turned over into
Miles?
Ultimate Comics Spider. No, before it was Miles, but when it was Ultimate Comics Spider-Man after Ultimatum. Because remember, Jean DeWolf was police captain, and then she turned out to be in the Kingpin's pocket, and this guy took her place, I believe.
Okay, yeah, because he mentions he had worked with Spider-Man before and all this stuff, and I couldn't remember. I don't know if maybe he was just there and they just didn't have as prominent a part as he did in this issue, because he's taking up 3 pages with this conversation that he has at the beginning. But the scene changes, and we've got.
The best part of this though is when he finally goes over to the Ringer, he's like, okay, and he starts reading his rights, and the Ringer tries to run, so he tases him, and he's like, all right, so anyway, like I was saying, you have the right to remain silent, and I really hope you do that, but obviously you probably won't. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. That was just funny.
The Reener's awesome. The Reener needs to be in the Amazing Spider-Man movie. Him or the Spot. I would take either one at this point.
Those are the guys that you want to see at the start of a film, like a sequel, with Spidey just punching them out outside a bank and then moving on.
That's what Spider-Man 3 totally needed. It needed a Reener,
like the Shocker
Spot,
or somebody getting punched out.
Yeah. I'm surprised the Shocker wasn't in it, because he was in every video game and anything animated that has ever been made for Spider-Man. Yeah. Why was he not in one of his movies?
I know he is the him and the Rhino are the obligatory first 5-page beat up trying to rob a bank guy before we get to the plot.
But in the comic, it switches scenes, and we've got the Prowler, which we now know is Miles' uncle. We found that out a couple issues back. And he's got some stuff going down with this mobster guy or something from Mexico, who's I guess the ultimate version of the Scorpion, even though I thought we already had a Scorpion.
We did. It was one of Peter's clones. Yeah.
He was kind of crazy, and he had a Scorpion costume. I remember it. But I guess he's now the ultimate Scorpion, and he's just basically some really big guy that's tough as nails, and he has this big old chain with the hook on it. And there must be something else going on with him, because basically he's waiting at the Tinkerer's apartment or something, where I think maybe in the last issue or the issue before.
It was the last issue.
Prowler killed him because Tinkerer was did he find he didn't find out that
no, he figured, I think he figured that the Tinkerer had enough pieces that he could put it together. That
he was putting it together, but I don't think he had quite figured it out yet. Yeah, and so he killed him, to shut him up, and now Scorpion's waiting for him here. And there's just this big fight, and it's pretty cool because all this stuff that the Tinkerer's got, all these weapons he's been building for super villains, Prowler uses to take him out, like these electrical things, and then looks like he falls into the Vulture's wings or something, and he shoots blades at this guy, and he murders. Looks like he kills all of the Scorpion's guys. Yeah. But Scorpion gets shocked. He's cut up with blades, and he's still coming. It's like. The guy's you met a human or
there is something else
going
on there. Yeah.
Something going on with this guy because no matter what he does, this dude should be dead 1,000 times over. And
I remember when we heard he was going to be in it, and before the issue came out, I was wondering if it was just a clone who just had gone to hide out in Mexico.
Yeah,
but no. If that's but I don't know. Maybe he bulked up and got some tats. I mean, it could still be him.
God.
But something else is going on with this guy to the point that the Prowler has to run. He takes those Vulture wings and he gets out of dodge. But then you got a scene a little bit later on where Miles is trying to get back to the school, and there's this guy at the school, one of the teachers or something. I'm not sure if we've run into this guy before. He's really he's really questioning what's going on with Miles, almost to the point that is there something going on with him? He's really interested in where he's at.
We've just seen that this school is really uppity.
Yeah.
And really tight when it comes to this.
The shot of his eyes. When he finds him, he snuck back in. They tell him oh, he's in the bathroom. He's been in the bathroom all day. And he goes to check the bathroom. He's not there. And then he comes back and he sees that he's in the room. And he just kind of blows him off and says I was in the bathroom and I just came back, And he just has this look on his eyes watching you, sir.
Well, this is the obligatory thing. You gotta have this when he's not living at home, and you don't have him trying to dance around Aunt May. When he's not trying to do it for her sake, but for his own sake, you do have to kind of have this aggressive guy who's no, I got my eye on you, boy. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the art in this issue is great.
It is, isn't it? Now, this is by David Marquez. It's not Sarah Pacelli.
It's damn close.
Yes, it's doing a very good match.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
I love these faces.
Yeah, she's obviously busy working on Spider-Man right now, I would guess, and that's why she hasn't done all of this arc. But I would be quite happy to see this guy hang around because it's very nice looking. Yeah. Not that I didn't enjoy Sam Nee's issues from the first two parts of this arc. Really enjoyed Sam Nee's issues, but they are, there's something else. They're a different style that you probably don't. It doesn't sing Ultimate Comic to you for Sam Nee's issues, but this does. This looks the part really. It's really nice work.
Yeah,
very nice colors on it too. Actually, the coloring is a big part of the colors on this. Justin Ponster, the standard Ultimate Spidey colorist, but he's always good. We never give the colorists enough credit except for Dave Stewart over Batwoman, but colors in this are a big part. Very, very good looking book, this.
Yeah. I seem to recall someone wanted to give credit to colorists, but was shot down and told that was ridiculous.
Me too!
We'll make up for it next year.
Okay.
Him too!
But, so, just one last little thing about this issue at the end was just really cool, where Miles is, in bed, and he's, talking to, Genki. Is it Genki? Is that how you say that?
I've always been Genki, yeah, something like that.
He's talking to him with his cell phone, and kind of, he gets a message from his uncle. And then we're starting to see, something's going on here. Because, I think, earlier, maybe in the last issue or something, he was talking about meeting with him and having a talk with him, and Miles is just kind of dodging him, and he's you now find out he wants him to do something.
Oh yeah, of course.
Blackmail by any other name was the implication that he was I know your deal. Maybe come talk to me if you don't want someone else to find out about it. But here he's saying okay,
He says, "I'll make a deal with you. You take care of one thing for me, and I'll leave you alone forever." And now we're like setting up. Yeah, something's going on with this, and
who's all 24 here on the last row of panels? Boop, 2. Boop, B. Boop, continued.
And again,
Very
like the art,
so.
look at his face here. I mean, that's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a good book. I mean, this is sort of like the Spider-Man I want versus what we're getting in the cartoon. Which I don't want to knock the cartoon because again, we've gotten the Spider-Man serious stuff, the responsibility and all that in cartoons enough, and I think what they're doing in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon is probably the right choice because it's the Brave and the Bold type choice.
I really think that's the
It's a good choice. It's just that this is like the Spider-Man I like, and I really like. This
I want to
book.
know what's going on with the roommate.
Yeah.
Oh, Judge.
I feel like I can't even remember what this guy's name is actually. To be honest,
Judge. Judge is his name.
Oh
right?
yeah, Judge. Yes, his name, Judge. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like the second time now, at least, where they've tried to blow him off, and he's made it clear that he knows they're obviously hiding something. And I'm wondering what's going to come of that. Is this guy going to be a supervillain? What's going to happen? Is he going to be like the I don't know. I'm interested to find out what happens.
You don't think like he'll just like wind up being like another family cast member type dude?
Well,
like something happens. Like
he's a member of the supporting cast. Maybe he'll find out about it. But if he finds out about it, what does he bring to the table that Yankee doesn't already? They are all geniuses working in a genius school. What is he gonna offer if that is the position? And I'm not knocking the character or anything. So I'm not saying they have told me enough about him. They've told me just enough that I'm quite curious to see what happens with this guy next.
Now we haven't gotten any villains for Miles yet, like specific Miles villains, right? It's just been. Well, I guess
I don't know if we will really.
Maybe.
Well, I guess Scorpion's going to be one.
Yeah.
Well, they'll just probably be ultimized versions of pre-existing characters. Really, the Ultimate Universe isn't given to new villains. But I suppose Ultimate Spidey already went through the gamut of classic Spidey villains. So short of Ultimate Big Wheel, I don't really know what.
I'd like to see some new villains, like not something like this, just like an Amazing Spider-Man guy made into Ultimate, like they did before. But
Ultimate
when they yes.
God.
But like when I get you get worried when they make a new Spider-Man villain because they're not as good as the '60s Spider-Man.
Right, it's one of those rogues galleries that is not easily added to, like Batman, not easily added to because of how classic his villains are.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's Ultimate Spider-Man. It's good. Keep reading it. It's awesome.
All right. Sweet. I am going to basically do a quick review of JLI because since most of you don't love it as much as I do, I don't guess I need to spend too much time on it. So
I don't.
This issue is rolling from where we had where the story has been going, which is the destruction of the Hall of Justice and who's really attacking the JLI. The first of this is sort of the introduction of Batwing, who seems to be joining the group. He had happened to be at the hospital in this scene and ends up helping Booster fight this new villain, Lightweaver, who can make light constructs. Sort of like lanterns, except rainbow-y.
Okay.
Wow, he's got the power over the complete emotional spectrum.
Wasn't there like a Superman
But
villain that could do that was shit? A shitty villain?
Probably, and I would bet it might have been Dan Jurgens as well. This is really kind of a tribute issue. The reason I'm really reviewing this is because there's a few little bits that are just classic Dan Jurgens, where it's like, you give Dan reins, and he's like, cool, I'm going to invent some villains, and they're like, whatever, Dan. Try that out. It's like, I mean, there's somewhere is a graveyard of Dan Jurgens invented villains that were used like in his books and were never seen again. The only one I think ever to reach any level of prominence was Doomsday, and that's simply
the only one I remember.
And that's simply
I read his book for years too.
Yeah, and so anyway, so Batwing fights Lightweaver, and there's so we get into this the creation of the next villain in here. There's a cutaway scene where one of the bombers has been arrested, and he's in the back of the paddy wagon with the officers, and they're kind of shaking him down, and he gives them their name, which doesn't mean anything. And one of them starts like, "Dude, I don't feel so good," and they kind of sitting there for a minute. And one of the other guys starts to get the shakes as the first guy is starting to do the Temple of Doom thing where his face starts melting off. And then they're like, "Oh, I don't feel so good either." Yeah. So this guy apparently, and of course the car wrecks, and this guy that's mostly bones at this point is crawling out of the car begging for help and gets his skull crushed. Because apparently this guy is...
Hey, now, the art on that book's pretty good. Is that pretty graphic?
It is actually pretty graphic, because when he comes out, when he's climbing out of the back of this car, his hand's sort of skeleton and his face is skeletal, but there's still an eye in the socket.
God.
And then you see this foot come down on the skull as it's mid-crush.
Sounds like you're getting in Swamp Thing territory.
I know, it's a little graphic. But then who is doing the art on this? I can't remember. Aaron
I don't remember.
Lopresti.
Oh yeah, okay.
I remember the art being pretty good on the book. I enjoyed the art, and I was thinking that's got to be pretty graphic because the art was pretty nice,
So then we get the massive 3 Dan Jurgen villain introduction here, where apparently the guy that was in the back of the wagon was Breakdown, who immediately states that he has the ability to break down elements into their more basic forms. We already had Lightweaver. He shows back up, and of course, he had already stated what he can do. And then he turns to ask the other minion by name, "And you, Intersect?" And it's this chick with this weird glowing hair. And of course, she and Lightweaver can both fly. And apparently, she can control. She's controlling the emergency bands and disseminating misinformation. So apparently she can telepathically control communications networks and stuff.
What?
Oh my god, total throwback Dan Jurgens villains created out of nowhere. They just have this odd power sets.
So
she
has this power.
These guys in the late 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
So she has this power, and she decides, okay, there's no way I can use this to fight evil, so I'm gonna use it to do bad things.
Exactly.
Because I can't do shit with this power.
And Breakdown looks like this odd combination of Ragman and just he's got this black wispy cloak sort of falling apart around him and all this mechanical stuff. It's oh my god, it's Jurgens drew the character model and just said, "Here you go, just draw this,"
He probably did.
Which he probably did. It's like this. It's like Ragman meets Cyborg Superman is basically what this looks like.
So what you're saying is he's not creating no Thor girls. Man, Thor girl was awesome.
No, not yet.
Oh yeah.
No.
What a novel concept.
Oh yeah, and this girl totally has long glowing pink hair too. Oh my god. You have to pull up pictures of this if you have not seen.
God,
so,
I'd kill if Hasbro would make a Thor girl action figure right.
That would be awesome. So anyway, the rest of this is almost inconsequential other than the rest of the JLI that's back at the hospital ends up getting kicked out of the hospital. Not the ones that are checked in, but the ones that are loafing around. Basically, the UN is saying, look, you're not sanctioned anymore. Of which they figured out that... and they even said, you're not sanctioned anymore, and you can't even really work together anymore. And so it's August General and Iron, Guy, and Godiva. And they're trying to basically figure out what they're going to do, whether they're going to keep fighting or keep researching or whatever. Mid-conversation, a huge shadow overcasts them, and out of nowhere, and I mean, literally I turned the page, and it was what? But not the good, what? The bad, why? OMAC!
Oh. Well, that's cool.
OMAC?
OMAC!
Okay.
I am OMAC! Literally says that. I am OMAC as he crushes into the ground underneath
Well,
him.
to be fair, nobody knows who he is. Nobody was reading his book. You do have to have the introduction.
Exactly. And he just beats the shit out of them, and that's the end of the issue.
What?
And why not?
Yeah. But I will say that there
Wait, is OMAC a bad guy, or is he
I
a good guy?
have no idea. Obviously, we weren't reading it, so we have no idea.
Who does he beat the shit out of? The JLI?
Yeah,
or
the August General in Iron, Guy, and Godiva. Grabs Godiva by the hair and uses her to beat the shit out of August General in Iron.
That makes sense. That makes sense. He thought they were villains, of course.
I have no idea.
I've never heard of them before, so of course I'd think
he
they were
literally beats the shit out of. I mean, throws hits Guy with the door of an ambulance, and then grabs Lady Godiva by her hair and smacks August General in Iron with her. I mean, it's awesome. It's really awesome. But the only other thing is there is a whole conversation between Booster and Batman and Batwing about Batman wanting to bring Batwing in to help because of some of his resources and things. But this again
so they don't address the fact that Batman doesn't want the JLI to exist.
Well, and that's what I was coming back to. It's like this again just points out why Justice League seems like it's a book apart because it's not connecting with what's happening in the book. Batman is obviously still working with the JLI, and you can say, okay,
maybe he doesn't want them to officially know that he works with the JLI. Maybe he's just like, yeah, to hell with the JLI, and then he's like, hey guys, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. I'm going to make you guys awesome. And then when they ask him, it's like, yeah, that JLI, they suck.
Yeah, because that's Batman. He has time to be just a dick like that, Like that would totally be his thing. I don't know. It's fun. I mean, it's fun in the sense that, like I said, it's totally like a Dan Jurgens tribute comic is really the way I'm viewing it. Because, like I said, it's like, where are you going to get these, crazy Dan Jurgens villains that show up for a minute and then vanish, Where else are you going to get, Booster? Nowhere, He's not showing up anywhere else. So, I like it. I mean, I like it in a quirky sense. It's not obviously one of the best comics I'm reading right now, but there's just that little place in my heart that just loves it. And OMAC now. I know nothing about OMAC, so I'm kind of excited. Maybe I'll learn.
Oh, I know a little about OMAC.
Something about OMAC. So, anyway, cool. There you go. JLI. There you go. All right, Chris McFeely.
All right.
On to good stuff. Speaking of Superman,
Action Comics. Speaking of Superman, which we weren't. Action Comics.
No, I think if you mentioned Dan Jurgens, I think you're mentioning Superman really by proxy. I mean, he did kill
Superman. People who have written Superman.
He did kill Superman.
Comics to my right. Well, it's Action Comics. It's the final part of Grant Morrison's first arc. So if they hadn't had that little interjection in the middle, then this would have been issue 6, so the standard 6-issue storyline, the final part of the battle with the Collector of Worlds, in which Superman battles Brainiac to save the lives of Metropolis, which has been bottled by Brainiac, and it's just sort of awesome. Yeah,
sort of.
Okay.
No, it's really awesome.
It's good.
I know. It's like, okay. I mean, it starts right out of the gate when, the very first thing in the very first panel that I noticed right away is you've got Glenn Morgan sitting there at the bar. Last issue, he was served a drink by the little man, and the little man's not there anymore. And it's the first thing I noticed. And then 2 panels later, he's saying, Morgan's losing it completely. It's like one of those films where they're dropped in hell and the devil's the bartender, and the detective, whose name I've forgotten offhand, says, "There's no bartender here, sir." And I'm like, I saw that. Yeah, he's mixed his pet. It's all starting to. You're paying attention. All the pieces are starting to become more and more apparent. And, Lex Luthor talks about how he came into contact with Brainiac. Picture 2 warring alien empires, one synthesized mechanic antiseptic, the other sweating biological germ-laden. So this is more on this idea. We get a little. We heard about it last issue. We hear a little bit more about it this issue. The idea that Earth, something is coming for Earth. Whatever it was that destroyed Krypton is coming for Earth as well. Or I don't know, maybe Brainiac just has like a timetable of planets that are inevitably going to be destroyed. I guess they haven't made it explicitly clear that it's the same force is going to destroy both of them.
I never got the idea it was the same force. I just got the idea that, like, hey, Doom is coming to, Earth, and hey, I need to save you guys. Let me save you. Put you in a bottle. But no.
I don't know. It's not so much. There's far less of an element of savior, as I almost want to read Brainiac with your birth world is dead. I have to preserve you. Keep it milk and package. Yeah. There's a real nerdy MIB collector aspect to this. Brainiac. I preserve the debris of doomed worlds. Stupid.
Wow. Only here on Fanboy Versus will you get Brainiac in Fanboy.
Oh, so stupid. Stupid Superman.
If they ever do Brainiac in a Superman movie, which they never will, that's his voice. That has
to be it. Yes.
That's like what Brainiac would be if he appeared like on Crypto the Superdog or like a joke episode of Brave and the Bold or something.
Oh my god.
Maybe not with this kind of voice, but you could really see, like, if you wanted to put a comedic spin on Brainiac, that you would go that kind of like that episode of Futurama with all the Star Trek guests with the energy being who turns out to be an adult collector of Mom, playing with my collectibles.
Oh my god.
He was a child. He's not a child. He's 35. Anyway, back to the story. Also, we saw at the end of the last issue that John Corbin has become wired into this cyborg slug body extension of... I mean, we call it Brainiac. It's not really... It's called the Collector of Worlds here, just the Collector, with the idea... The vague idea that it is... It started out as like a computer intelligence. I think they said it started out in the planet of Kolu, and it's just absorbed every planetary computer network that it's come across. It's absorbed the internet from Earth and various other things that it's named, as well as Brainiac. So that's
Luthor even says it's the Brain Interactive something, doesn't he? At one point,
I think that at one point comes a little later. When I turn to the page, I'll bring that. But it's absorbed the Brainiac intelligence from Krypton, so they're able to keep the really smart idea from the animated series of Brainiac being a Kryptonian computer, and marry it with this idea that it's a pre-existing life form as well. But John Corbin has also become wired up into him, and they're sharing minds, following on from the earlier issue where he took control of him, and he's not happy.
No. No.
I could just sit here and I could just sum up all the awesome moments. He's ranting and raving. I read what she wrote about you. Now, hang on, let me get my Malcolm McDowell voice on. Malcolm McDowell was Metallo with the costume. I read what she wrote about you.
You don't want to go like the Brian Austin Green route from like Smallville.
No, nobody wants to go that route.
Was he Metallo in fucking Smallville?
He was Metallo in Smallville.
He was Metallo in Smallville, yes, sir.
I could have lived the rest of my life without knowing that!
Oh, yes, sir! Oh, yes, sir.
So anyway, he knows what Lois wrote out him. Faster than a speeding bullet! That's Metropolis's latest wonder of tomorrow! Nothing's faster than a speeding bullet! And he puts up a gun to shoot him with. Yeah? I'll raise you light. Heat vision from the eyes melts the bullets before they even get anywhere near him. How awesome is that? This is awesome. This is a real action hero Superman. I mean, we've said it before. This is a very kind of quippy, young, hotshot Superman, but he is really like this is Superman as played by. Who is he as played by? I'm trying to think of like a young action hero. A young Bruce Willis.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
There's no good modern action heroes that I can compare him to.
They're all pretty lame now.
Remember when I said I would kill you last? I'll raise you light.
And they're not that young, are they?
No,
Jason Statham's got to be getting pretty up at this point. Yeah.
But Corbin's emotions are running so high, he's actually overriding Brainiac. He's overloading Brainiac's system, and It's flipping on here. I mean, here it is. Yeah, Luthor describes the alien intelligence as brain interactive systems. So I guess that's the identifier it's using. Lewis shortens that to Brainiac. So there's that. And Glenn Morgan continues to lose it. You know, the little man is the devil. He says, I'm sort of getting pulled into this as I'm looking over it. You know. Fighting continues. Superman
I want to know something. When he gets knocked back into that one case, and then the suit changes.
Yeah.
What's going on? I mean, maybe it's over my head or something. Like, why did it change? Did it change because...
And it changes between two different panels. Three different panels, really.
Well, they said that... they said something about this being, like, formal wear... Didn't they? I don't know. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to remember where I picked this up now, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, was the idea that this was supposed to change to reflect other cultures or something whenever Kryptonians went to them?
But like the sun looking symbol on his chest, that's like old school Silver Age-ish Jor-El, right? Isn't that what that is? Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean even between those two panels.
There's at least three different looks there. Like when Metallo punches him, and the suit turns white, and then he crashes thing, and then it's gold and green, and then it's red and white. I don't know what's going on there exactly. You know?
But I like it. I mean, for one thing, I think one of the things it does is that we kind of complained about some of these changes. Not complained so much, but it's like, okay, why? And this actually gives like a really good reason in this universe why Superman's costume is completely different. Because it's not just, something his mom's made. It's,
it also
it's
makes
actual...
sense why his suit's indestructible, which that was always like an old
Superman
thing. And you couldn't really explain that.
Yeah, you had those weird little John Byrne explanations back in Man of Steel, like about how he projects just a tiny, tiny force field of invincibility about as wide as his body hair, and that's why his costume never gets destroyed or anything. So no,
I really like that aspect. I really like that they explained that. Now his suit's indestructible, and it makes sense why Superman doesn't go and fight somebody, and every battle he ends, he's naked because he's been burnt to death by something. You know what I mean? It makes sense.
Yeah. They effectively gave him unstable molecule costume, so it's but it's all explained in here. So now it's like, okay, now you know why his costume looks different. Sweet.
I mean, I just like the idea that he got it here. We saw it at the end of the last issue. He got it from Brainiac's collection of Kryptonian ephemera. That's where it came from.
Yeah.
And that's a great idea. When he pulled it on in the last issue, it was like, oh, that's where it came from. That was the reaction you have, And I love that there's this bit here where Jimmy Olsen just sends texts an SOS to Superman, and it does the signal watch noise, because we had that little... Way back in the first issue, they were talking about... I can't remember if his phone was making that noise or if they made a kind of a quip about that, but the idea that the phone connected them like the signal watch, I love that, And then, Metallo turn, I'm calling him they keep, Brainiac continues to refer to Corbin as Metal Zero, Metallo,
yep.
But to save Metropolis, Corbin turns on him, save them if you can! And, Superman reaches into the shattered bottle, and Glenn Morgan really starts to lose it. The hand of God!
Love it.
Yeah. And then here's the real line. You're required to complete the collection to secure its value and rarity. You're shipping you in mint condition. He actually says mint condition.
Yeah.
He takes his rocket out of the thing. I mean, the death list of the multitude is what Brainiac describes it as. Krypton was number 205 of 333. I mean, your world is, maybe it's Earth is 205. So, whether or not it's still somebody or I'm interested to find out what's going on there, Brainiac really starts... Yeah. I mean, Superman puts Brainiac on guard by threatening to smash the rest of his collections if he doesn't back off, I put King Collection of Worlds!
I am not going to be able to unhear this.
And then it seems like Brainiac...
I wonder if that was going through Grant Morrison's head when he was writing his head in that voice.
I don't know necessarily the voice, but he's I think he's really definitely deliberately characterized him as a kind of manic, obsessive kind of collector. It's like, it is like those jokes you see in The Simpsons or whatever, where someone tortures the comic book guy by opening him in box toy. That's really what it is,
Yeah.
But then he does get the cool lines as well, to join the collection is to be saved. What is your objection to salvation? As it seems like Brainiac's true form rolls out, which is weird, but it's like, it's got purple and it's slightly more humanoid in form now, so you can see he takes many forms,
Mm-hmm.
No, here it is again. The multitude is on its way, Brainiac says, and he refers to the death list of the multitude. So it really feels like, whatever it was that took Krypton has a list of worlds it's going down, and Earth is coming next on this, whatever the multitude is. Failure to join the collection means annihilation. You carry the Krypton moral imprint. You will not harm me. Oh, there's such a... you guys know. Is this awesome cinematic action hero moment again, Superman has between his forefingers his miniaturized rocket with the computer intelligence in it, I don't know if you can see what I have in my hand. I expect you can. The rocket that brought me to Earth. It has some kind of crystal computer system. And like everything else where I come from, it's invulnerable, so you won't have any defense against it. The real irony, you brought it here because you had to have it all. No, you stupid! So I'll ask you what you ask me. Are you faster than a speeding bullet? He flicks the rocket at him, and it embeds itself in Brainiac's head. The Brainiac computer system in the rocket overrides the Brainiac element in the collector. He explodes Brainiac outward in a massive crystal explosion. That's the end of your film. That is such an action hero moment. Faster than a speeding bullet. Wicked sweet. Try to collect
I love this little scene too at the end, where he just passes out with exhaustion, and there's the sunlight. Yep, he's better.
Magnify and reinstate Metropolis, and this all feeds back into what we saw in the little look into the future as well, where the Collector's satellite base has been overtaken by the Brainiac AI from Superman's ship and is now being used as his first fortress of solitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm still not 100% sure if we were supposed to see those two issues first or not. I'm not sure, given the fact that this runs to 6 issues altogether, and then I don't know how it's being collected exactly. I feel like we probably were supposed to see those 2 issues first. In that little interlude.
I think we were.
I think so. I mean, the fact that they were drawn by...
It feels right. It feels right.
Yeah.
It's right.
And,
it doesn't feel like a last minute decision to throw that in because, something's running late or something. It feels like, hey, this is when it was supposed to have happened.
Also, because I was looking at I was doing up the order for May, the solicitations for May, and the solicitation for Action Comics there is that Nimrod the Hunter is on Superman's trail, and Nimrod the Hunter. Well, we don't know for sure if he was one of the characters from that issue, I don't think. I always assumed he was the guy with the fedora and the trench coat and the big shotgun on his back. But he was definitely he was the guy who shot the pellet into Superman's brain that all the villains were living inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's all coming back around. It's all coming back around. Clark takes his story to the Daily... the
Daily Star.
The Daily Star, yes, sorry,
Yes,
the panel.
Star, yeah.
The Daily Star, they say, your job is done, you've done well, you can go and work for the Daily Planet now. So Clark goes on. And then a great little conclusion to the whole thing was that he speaks to the voice on the phone, who we saw him speak to once or twice before in the early half, and it turns out it was Lex Luthor all along. I'm like, I'm going to have to go back and reread those comics now, because you remember, we were quite confused off the back of the first issue, was how does this voice know that was happening then? And there's, of course, there's Lex Luthor. He set the whole thing up. That's how the voice knew what was happening. Then I have to go back and watch it all. We see that Metallo has been recovered. He's alive without a heart. They'll stick a chunk of kryptonite in there. We'll get Metallo. We know that Superman's landlady knows who he is now, but she promises she'll keep it secret. He just introduces himself to the world, and he goes to visit his parents' graves and says it's all going well. And
Whoa! Parents' graves?
Mm-hmm.
What? Parents are dead?
Oh yeah, we knew that.
Parents
Did we
are
know that?
dead. You didn't know that? Yeah,
I
we
don't
knew
remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't remember
I don't
that
think
when
they
I got
would.
to
They
this
wouldn't
point.
go out of their way to show their deaths, but we got the backup strip a couple of issues ago that confirmed he was on his own now.
Oh,
Yeah.
He left Smallville.
I
when
should
they
Remember,
read
we got the
backup
backup strip
strips.
that showed like the kind of little intercut scenes with his family.
Yeah, I didn't read that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's
You didn't
your
read
well,
that?
there
I
you
know.
go.
So that's what I'm saying. That's my fault for not reading the backups.
And I think they mentioned it in the first issue too, didn't they? Like,
Yeah, I think he looked at a
his
photo
parents-
of them both like they were
Yeah, I
dead.
think there was a
Yeah.
mention of it in the first issue.
Huh.
I just knew it for some
Man,
reason. I knew
DC
it
hates
somehow.
people.
You know?
No more marriages, no more parents. Just like, man.
Well,
Yeah.
and then he goes up to the satellite and looks down upon the Earth, and all is good.
Yes.
I mean, there's something vaguely sinister about that last page, but I don't really think there's supposed to be. I think it's just the fact that we don't know what he's saying. He's speaking in Kryptonian.
Yeah.
But I do like this Kryptonian language here, though. You know, Hala, Kal-El Don-Edit, Vix Lolo-E. It's something. It's particularly whenever the computer talks with it. It does sound like this incredible exultation.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, the issue where he finds the thing, you know, and it goes through this spiel of la 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 la, and then it ends Hala, Kal-El, and you're like, oh, that's his name, awesome. You know, it's just, it does sound like this really great dramatic exaltation whenever you can penetrate that one little bit of its meaning. And then we get I'm not sure if we're seeing. I mean, I assume this must be. There's a 2-page. It's an epilogue. It's called a prologue. I mean, I assume that it's not the first 2 pages of the next issue or anything, but it's the little man, and he is recruiting. Mr. Zarov. But Zarov is quoting the Bible and mentioning Nimrod, and he is the ultimate hunter, Dinosaur Island, and he hunts the T-Rex with a shotgun, as you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
killed everything that ever lived. There are no challenges left. As of now, there's nothing I cannot or have not killed. What about a bulletproof man? Could you kill a bulletproof man? There's no such thing as bulletproof.
Yeah.
To be continued, motherfucker.
Headshot.
Good job. Yeah.
Yeah, Action Comics is great.
Yeah.
Like, totally. So
like,
stupid how
did you
good
see like
it is.
the write up on the next issue? It says
Yeah.
some craziness going on in it.
Meet the Superman of Parallel Earth 23 in The Curse of Superman. And then if you go to the little Superman news page, it does seem to be Obama.
It's Obama as Superman.
Wow.
Because he's the president. They've already said like in the write up that Superman is the president. Find out how Superman's the president and blah blah blah. And
President Superman takes on the menace of Super Doom. Not that this is the first time Morrison's done Obama as Superman, because he did it in Final Crisis as well. We saw a parallel universe where all the superheroes were black. Well, we saw Wonder Woman and Superman were black, but it was President Superman again there. So it seems like he's just.
Could this be like that again? Could this be that same universe?
I think. Well,
maybe?
I mean, if those universes still exist, post Flashpoint, like maybe. I don't have Final Crisis within arm's reach to check the issue number. Sorry, the
vaguely remember that. Like I don't remember it real well, but I vaguely remember that. Like most of Final Crisis, I've blocked out at this point.
Yeah. Well, I think the number, the planet number is probably the same. All everything notwithstanding. So yeah, that's the first arc of Morrison's Superman, and holy shit, have I enjoyed this. This is actually my favorite of the New 52 so far. I have so dug this. I've never read anything by Grant Morrison that's been so cinematic before, so not up its own arse.
I like Superman. Why is this happening to me?
Isn't that crazy?
Why?
Beating bullet. That moment alone was worth the price of admission, And it's great to me and now that I'm a bit more familiar with the way Morrison works after reading Batman. I mean, the reason I got on this book was because it had not been too long after the cosmic gears had aligned and I had understood what he was doing with his Batman, as I've said many times before. And I thought, if he is doing something on that level again, I want in on the ground floor this time. And he did, and I know now, reading his work, to really be paying attention to all the little things. And I bet there's stuff in here I'm not seeing.
Oh, yeah.
But I still feel like I am at least getting it on one more level than the surface, following all the stuff with the little man and following all the references. I mean, it's changed quite surprisingly in the span of 6 issues, leaving aside the 2-issue digression, just as a 6-issue story, this, from being socialist Superman pounding the pavement and righting corporate wrongs, to space-age Superman fighting Brainiac.
Yeah,
but
he is Superman now. I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen in this story. I thought they were going to go a little bit longer with what you were saying, the Superman mounting his,
Well, I think we said off the back of the first issue, if Morrison stays on this long enough, you can expect to see the steady evolution of Superman as through the ages as Superman was, from Golden Age socialist Superman through to the wacky monsters of the Silver Age and beyond to the other defining things of the other eras. And that's really what's happened. If you put the stories in chronological order, if you take the 2-parter and put it after this where it falls, that's really what's happening on a massively more accelerated thematic scale than I thought it was going to happen. I mean, I haven't read a lot of classic or Silver Age Superman or DC in general. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't tolerate a lot of it. But when they started publishing the showcases, what they did, which was really the showcases started with the Silver Age. They didn't go all the way back to the Golden Age. They did the sort of Silver Age starter markers and went forward from there. The first Superman showcase was the Brainiac story and a load of other stuff as well, obviously, because that was just one comic. So I kind of feel like Brainiac is the marker for that change between Golden Age Superman and Silver Age Superman, and that's what we've come up through here. We've come up through Golden Age, Man of the People Superman, through the alien barrier that Brainiac represents, in through to the Silver Age, where he is the icon of the people, not just a man who tries to put himself on their level and fight for the little person's rights on a personal level, but who tries to protect the world as an icon to be looked up to, which is really what he's transforming into in the final pages here, when he appears in his costume before the people and says to his parents, I got this. It's going to take a little time, but we've got there. I feel like we have gone through that transformation in the span of one story arc, which was so much faster than I expected it to do. But
especially with Grant Morrison, my God, that was fast.
But I mean, that makes me feel he's definitely got something comparative. Well, the same with Batman, really, but with his Batman, he's got something comparatively finite in mind that we are gonna get. I mean, I know he said he's going to do at least 16 issues, and I would assume he'll probably wind up doing more, But we've had 8 now, and we're already we've had. The starting with the Golden Age, this story has transitioned us through to the Silver Age, and that 2-issue story is basically the entirety of the Silver Age, just encapsulated down to 2 absolutely insane issues. So and I want to know where it's going to go next. I think that's what it's supposed to be. I believe I'm interpreting it correctly whenever I interpret it in that manner. And more,
Sounds
please.
Good. Yeah.
Yes. My question is okay, you said he said he's going to do 16 issues and hopefully more. What happens when he leaves? Do they keep doing action? I mean, they got to keep doing action, don't they? I mean, they can't drop. They can't can't book, right?
Maybe after Mars, maybe they just do like Justice League and just bring it up to the present day and just make it another. Because, I mean, obviously, this is finite by design. Of course, Smallville was fucking finite by design, and we know how long that ran on. But this is finite in that this is the 3 days.
For 11 years of Grant Morrison on action. I'm just saying that up front, okay?
I would agree with you on that one. So I don't know if he just has a finite 16-issue arc plan, which will sort of take us up through the major eras of Superman, up through the Silver Age. Then we'll do the sort of neo-classic of the Bronze Age, the Man of Steel, the more humanized Superman. Then I don't know if it'd be the Death or something in the 90s. And that's that's your 4 eras of Superman: Golden, Silver, Bronze, and Modern. Are your eras of comics,
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to finding out.
Yeah,
that way. Yeah, the graphic novel now for this, the hardback collection of this, has been solicited for, I believe it's August, so it's a little way away yet. I believe it is planning to contain the first 8 issues. So get it, for Christ's sake.
Nice.
Yeah. That's section.
Cool. All right. Well, let's rapidly move then, since we are running close, to Avengers versus X-Men.
Woo! Round 1. Ding ding.
Versus X.
I think I'll blast through this myself, if that's
Easily
okay.
done.
All right. There's not much meat
Do it.
to this. I mean, this is really straightforward. For being an event, it's like pretty straightforward. You know, we're used to like, you know, you think back to even to like Fear itself, and there's all this setup with like, who's the Serpent and what's this? This is just like, no, you got Hope, you got the Phoenix, you got X-Men, you got Avengers, punches in the face.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you know, that's a lot better, honestly. It is.
Yeah.
Than, oh yeah, there's the Serpent, you don't know what he is, and we're gonna give you like 500 different mini books that'll tell you what this is, that you're not gonna read anyway. No, just it needs to be the Phoenix, X-Men, the Avengers, and this is what they're standing for.
So the comic starts out a nice, serene farming place, not Earth, but you know, somewhere, and a small boy with weird things coming out of his head turns.
It makes
and
you think Earth for a second, though.
yeah, it does for just a second until the
That
spiky,
looks like-
weird-faced kid turns in an
then
alien
back.
language. It's like, Father, and they turn around and you're like, oh, it's the sunrise. No, it's the Phoenix. Caw! Woof! Burning your planet down.
I think it's.
In your
Call
galaxy, burning your planet.
Yeah.
I think you should add the cacaw whenever it does kill a galaxy.
Woof! And the Phoenix flies on, burns the planet down, flies on, burns the planet down, flies on. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the Avengers are noted to something falling from the sky. They all assemble, and lo and behold, and there's like, of course, like a whole action sequence, like a
Take an
la...
awfully long time to do very little.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing crashes through the Chrysler building, and a
I
plane
don't think
starts
that's
to
the
crash.
Avengers' fault, though.
No.
I think that's
No,
John
no.
Romita just
Yeah.
wanting to draw something.
Well, no, I think it's
You know,
Bendis'
some cool
fault. He
shit.
scripted it, you know.
Yeah, there's basically a full page of drawing shit and saving stuff, you know, Spider-Man webbing net, save stuff, yada, yada, yada. God, that's a lot of... you're right, there's a lot of just not happening for like 4 pages.
Hey, it turns out the thing was Nova.
It's Nova!
Now, this is the epic fail Nova, whose adventures you can currently enjoy in Ultimate Spider-Man the cartoon.
So there you go.
Now, there's also that digital exclusive comic. Did either of you
Let's
read it?
not speak of it. Oh, sorry, no, I thought you were talking about something else.
Right.
I did not read it yet, no.
I want to read
So-
it. Brian says it's good. Mark Wade did.
Well, it is
So
weird
I'm
and
interested.
now, here's the thing, right? I'm gonna try not to like fill your ears with rage. I'm just gonna drop this fact and then go quiet because
Okay.
Right, Jeff Loeb created this Nova. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yep. And his name's Sam.
Okay. Oh, just like the TV show. So it is the same guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And his name's Sam.
wow.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So, anyway.
You get what I'm saying here.
I get what you're saying, and
You got it.
we'll just like go back to like about 100 episodes. No, it's not even 100, is it? It's been 50 episodes or something, and listen
a
to.
while ago.
You know, it's worth listening to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just
the
just
most
putting it up.
the most important thing that Nova tells us is it's coming, which we already fucking knew. So I'm not sure why he had to destroy the Chrysler building to tell us that, but cool.
He was in a hurry.
Meanwhile, back on Utopia, Scott's a total dick,
Yes, he is.
which we kind of knew because he's still trying to train Hope and he's beating the shit out of her and teaching her to fight, telling her not to fight with her powers and yada yada.
It's funny because this is not anything Hope has not gone through already with
No.
Cable. It's kind of a weird scene.
Yeah, it is kind of odd.
I mean, I don't know Hope very well, but I know Cable trained the shit out of her with no powers.
And Cable's
Well, I
way
know
more
that
badass
he-
than...
In the Uncanny X-Men comic, Cyclops gives her shit
Yeah.
like a lot. So this isn't
Oh, yeah.
new. This
No.
isn't something that just
Oh, yeah,
fell
I mean,
out of.
This is almost more establishing, like, if you don't know anything about the relationship between Hope and Scott and whatever,
Yeah.
So this seems
this is Scott's issues. I mean, let's be honest here. Like, we haven't got to the end of it, but in general, this issue is an issue for people who don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's almost like this should have been 0, maybe.
Yeah,
and then we could have got into the meat.
Like,
I sure as hell liked it better than 0.
Yeah, I liked it.
No, I think I enjoyed 0 better than this one, to be honest.
I liked the second story, but the first story, I'm going to tell you, because I wasn't here last week, and I'm sure you guys talked about it. The Scarlet Witch story reminded me why I hate Bendis.
Oh, what the hell, man? No, Vision's totally excited to be
no, listen to, like, when Bendis did Avengers Disassembled, and, Scarlet Witch went crazy, killed Vision, killed Hawkeye, like, all this happened in, like two issues, I think, or something. He just, like, threw it all out there. I know he's got, like, to address it, like, she goes back to the mansion and everything, but, dude, like, everything about that issue just, like, reminded me why I hate Bendis.
Okay, well,
I hated Avengers.
It just reminded you of the bad times. I can get
It just
with
reminded me
that.
of the bad times.
Well, I can't argue with
that. Yeah. So anyway, she's trying to figure out why Scott's riding her so hard, and he's not answering, and so she burst out with Phoenix energy at him.
Boom. I don't get it. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but whatever.
It's not like there's not precedent for it, but
no.
Jean was... I mean, back during Morrison's run, Jean was doing this before she became the Phoenix again.
Yeah.
I like to fucking Morrison's run again. This operates... Wolverine gives a little speech in a couple of pages' time, which is just like, no, that's wrong. That didn't happen. But...
what did he say?
We'll get there.
So meanwhile, back at the White House, the Avengers explain who the Phoenix is and why it's important we catch her, and that the Thing is coming, and so we probably should kill Hope.
A quick, solid fill-in for that. I didn't say that.
Yeah. No? Oh, I mean, not kill Hope. Kill the Phoenix. I'm sorry, kill the Phoenix. Yeah. Not Hope. But yeah. But then by the end of this,
but they're thinking that.
Yeah. So, so for some reason they go talk to Wolverine. Why were they talking to him?
They want his help.
Because he's an X-Men. He knows what's going on with this shit.
Yeah.
Captain America wasn't there when it was there.
And he says, the Phoenix, and Cap says, you were there when the Phoenix first came to Earth. And Wolverine says, Jean Grey did everything she could to try and contain it, but eventually she had to kill herself to stop it. No, she didn't. That's not what happened. Jean Grey never died. That was the Phoenix impersonating Jean Grey.
No. That never happened, Chris.
Yeah. See,
if
what matters is what Bendis writes.
If Chris Claremont has anything to say about it, that didn't happen. It happened. She killed herself.
Yeah, but she did. He even wrote the story where she came back.
And the obligatory, can we count on you? And silence. Okay.
I thought that was like Walter Simonson or somebody that did X Factor. Was that X Factor?
Well, no, it was a crossover between, of all things, if I remember correctly, Fantastic Four, Avengers, and X Factor. So yeah, actually, Claremont didn't write it, but he had to run with it.
Yeah. Okay.
So again, we have a conversation with Scott, establishing things that we already knew, which that he basically thinks that Hope is going to be the salvation for the mutant race, and so we just basically again establish things that we already know. But it's okay, people, we're getting close. And lo, there came a Captain America.
Boom.
Dun dun. So the X-Men set aside, the 4 X-Men that are going to fight the 500 Avengers are standing to the side, listening to the conversation as Cap's like, we need Hope. And Cyclops says, go fuck yourself. And Cap's like, no, really. Yeah. We need Hope. And Scott's like, no, really.
We're telling.
And Scott's like,
we're not asking, we're telling.
No, really. Go fuck yourself. Honestly, actually, I'm paraphrasing the dialogue, but basically this is.
Captain America is not in the wrong here. Captain America has come here quite respectively, talked in a measured tone, explained the urgency of the situation, and that this is a world problem, not a mutant problem. Cyclops is turning it into something that basically affects 200 people. Cyclops is like, step off, bro. And Cyclops is like, come at me, bro. And that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gives him an eyeful. That's what we
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
An
Full-
Cyclops is the aggressor here.
Yeah,
He is
yeah,
the
Cyclops
villain.
totally attacks. And then we get the Avengers assemble, and there's again 500 Avengers versus 5 X-Men
And a Hulk.
and a Hulk.
I wish this issue would have just ended that when the helicarrier shows up and then you see all the Avengers. I wish that like Cyclops would have been like shit. You know, I just want that.
Are you kidding? He's like, are you kidding? I've got the craziest motherfucker around. I got Magneto. You think I'm nutty? This motherfucker's crazy. He crushed all y'all.
I have a feeling that the next issue is going to start with the X-Men running away. I'm just saying. I have a feeling that's how it's going to start.
I don't know. I like though. I mean, again, we've talked about this event. I mean, one of the things is that there's not really any one shots. I mean, these are all tying into pre-existing issues. So there's plenty of
us. We probably all get them. So
I don't know.
we can cover most of the tie-ins, I think.
I've dropped everything but Academy. So
I get
I'm
Avengers
really,
and New Avengers and Academy and Triplets got Uncanny and Wolverine and the X-Men covered.
Yeah.
so I think we'll
Good
probably.
books, dude.
I think the only thing is New Mutants and Secret Avengers.
Yeah,
Are they
those
all-
may be the only two.
Guess
I may
maybe-
pick them up just for the event. So
Maybe Captain America has some tie-ins, but I don't think it even does. I don't think even Cap or Thor have tie-ins.
So anyway, 2 weeks. Come back. So this has got a digital copy, and what are the little AR things? Is that a link to something?
Oh, do not get me started on the AR things. We'll come back to those in a moment. Let's talk a little bit more about the actual comic. So there's this is a fairly substantial comic. I counted the pages, but I've forgotten. Hang on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Man, there are like no ads in this thing. 20, 6, 20, 30, 32, 34. It's a 34-page comic with no ads interrupting the story. So, you're getting your money's worth at $4. I don't think every issue is going to be this size, unfortunately. But,
You're getting a lot of good John Romita Jr. art.
Oh yeah.
You're getting an
It looks good.
awful lot of silent double-page spreads. Given that the single talkiest part of the book was the 5-page preview included in every Marvel comic for the last month,
Yeah.
there is not a lot of time spent reading this. One thing that I was kind of irked by it, but one thing that I've seen a couple of people point out, which they're actually right about, and I've kind of come around to realizing about it now, is that as much as I said, this issue is the issue for people who haven't been paying attention and are just like, here's the deal, this is what's happening, here we go, and then they're fighting by the end. They are actually fighting by the end.
Yeah.
They're not monkeying around with this.
Oh no.
Marvel have just been trailing the high concept, so we still have room to be surprised by the actual story. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they get going. I'm glad that it doesn't. It's like, oh yeah, it's Avengers versus X-Men, and there's 12 issues to this thing, and they don't actually start fighting until issue 6. No.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Fear itself. They danced around what the whole point of the thing even was, and the hammers. Everybody hadn't even got their hammers till what, issue 3-ish, maybe even issue 4.
Yeah.
And it was just that was just such a piecemeal thing. Whereas this, comparatively, I want to call it uneventful, but I guess it's not really uneventful because it really is just putting all the ducks in a row. It kind of hurts it whenever you've been following all this stuff and you know all this stuff already, and nothing happens in this that you don't expect, but that it actually gets up to the point where the characters have their big brouhaha and they have it out, and we're ready to rock now at the end of this first issue. It took me until after I read it to sort of realize that and come around.
Makes sense the way they did it, though. It sort of makes sense the way they did it, though, because I was talking to Brian, he doesn't read any Avengers or X-Men comics or anything, so he knows nothing about Hope, but everything.
Well, I mean, it's all about Hope, isn't it? It is. There's no, anybody reading the Avengers books isn't going to have any
problem. So he
problems.
read it. He was asking me about Hope. Like, hey, who's Hope? What's going on with this? She's like this savior of the mutants and everything. I explained it to him because I've been reading the books, and he basically got it because everything he needs is in this book, and that's good because he didn't have to read another book. He just had to read this book. I like that. Yeah. I like that it didn't say here's a little star To find out more about Hope, go see Messiah War or whatever that other is. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I mean, you don't need that. Just set it up and then get it going, and then boom, they're going to fight. That's all you need.
The thing with Nova at the start still annoys me, though, because it is... What, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 8 pages it takes them to deal with his calamitous crash landing. And I'm like, what is that? What does this have to do with anything? You know, he's going to tell you. Is he going to appear again in the course of these 12 issues? He's neither an Avenger nor an X-Men. He told you it's coming. That's literally all that he has to do in the purposes of the story, you know. And it's like, you dedicated literally one full quarter of this book's runtime to that.
Well, and the thing that's really odd is that, again, it's all of this of like him crashing through, destroying all this stuff, breaking up, and then he's like, it's coming, and I mean, literally, they could have gone, oh yeah, we know.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, thanks for wrecking everything to tell us something we already knew.
We just built that. We just repaired that. I mean, they're actually here at the new Stark Tower, aren't they? It's like, hang on. No, not your condescending. No, this isn't an inauguration for the new tower or anything, because I can't keep up how many times that bastard tower has been destroyed in the last 6 months. But, you know, it's not uneventful. It's just that it doesn't tell anybody who's up on the hype and up on continuity what's happening. And I suppose I can't really criticize it for that, because it is the first issue of like the highest selling book of the year so far. There are going to be people picking this up who don't know what's going on, so I guess I grudgingly accept that, yes, you do have to write this as if it is. I just wish it could have been a little bit more eventful and been a little bit lighter on the silent double-page spreads. And also, fuck these little AR icons.
What is it? I mean, obviously, it's
in their ear. You point your smartphone at the AR icon, and it brings up little things, little augmented reality content. I believe there's like a little motion comic that shows you Nova's arrival from his point of view. I'm not actually sure if that's the Wade and Inman story or not, or some other pages where it like peels back the art and shows you like the inks and the pencils and the sketches underneath it. And you know what? I'm all for bonus content. I don't really give a fuck. But I did not know till I opened this comic that meant these little AR icons were going to be jammed in the corners of the panels in comic. And fuck that. That is gimmickry. I don't give a shit about gimmickry, but that is gimmickry to the detriment of the storytelling. And it can fuck right off. It is the worst thing in the history of creation. This is just the worst thing man has ever done.
I'll be honest.
I want it to die and go away.
I'll be honest. I didn't even notice it until my second reading.
I couldn't not notice it with every turn of the page. I turned the page to the title page, Avengers versus X-Men, Kaboom, Phoenix. What the fuck is that?
I'll tell you how stupid I am. When I was looking at it, and I didn't even think that it could be like something like that. At first I was like thinking, so like what news channel are they watching that they're seeing the Phoenix destroy a universe?
That's awesome.
I mean, I didn't even mind it so much on the double-page title spread because it's in with all the other credits and everything. But then I turned the page and there it was again. It's like the print equivalent of a hyperlink.
Yeah.
It is pretty stupid. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
No, I do not approve, and I wish to see it die. I don't want to see it in any more of my comics.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I think you're going to see it in a lot of
good luck with that.
Forward.
So. Cool. I mean, I have to say, overall, though, I think I like it.
That really actually got in the way of my enjoying the comic. I want to like mark it down 2 stars because of the presence of those.
Okay.
Filled me with hatred and bile. But you know, I'm already quite full of those things on a regular basis. So.
No, it's good though. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, I think it's a nice start. Like I said, this could have been 0 issue, but. Yeah, I mean, the fact, like you said, that by the end of it, they're already into, like, the fight, I'm like, all right, cool, here we go. Sweet.
But, you know, we don't actually know. We know what the high concept is. But there's surprises and story to come yet, you know. It's already living up to the promise of the concept, where Fear itself just floundered and was never even really able to tell us what it was about as part of the marketing.
I still don't even know what it was about.
I know. This is right in there.
I read all of it.
You get the start of Fear itself. It's like, oh, it's fear and sociology, and then social trends, and also hammers. And then you get the ads that come a month or two later. Who are the worthy? Here's the worthy, and a load of clip shows basically for the middle issues of the thing.
Who are the mighty?
Who are mighty? Yeah, and it's like, here's a big silhouette, and it's like, pick one fucking thing for your story to be about, Yeah. And it's like, this has delivered. This has sold itself on the high concept with more to come off the back of it. And I do give it credit for that. I do. I'd have to say I'm more looking forward to subsequent issues that'll be written by Hickman and Aaron rather than the early by Ben.
I'm really interested to see what's going to happen in Wolverine and the X-Men, because he's there with the Avengers. And how is that going to affect Wolverine in the X-Men book?
Yeah.
I mean, it's no surprise that Beast and Wolverine are on the Avengers side, being A, that they're Avengers, and B, that they did actively have fallings out with Cyclops.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, I just mean, like, the whole thing that Cyclops is going to turn it into, like, a mutant issue. It's like, this is, you're stepping on my grounds, Cap. He basically made a point of that, and then he gave him an eyeful, like I like to keep saying.
Boom. Cool. All right.
I think it's going to be more interesting than with Fear itself. I wasn't interested at all with the extra issues for Fear itself, but this, I don't know.
It's good. It's cool. It's a good start. I'm excited for our first.
I was not in love with it off the bat. I preferred the Zero issue, and I think even now I still probably prefer the Zero issue. But I've definitely softened on it after thinking about it and seeing some other people raise some points that I hadn't considered on my initial read through, and the whole AR thing distracting me. It's not a bad start. It's not a bad start. Not bad.
It's good. Cool. All right. Well, we have run long, so I think we are going to go ahead and get out of here then. No lingering at the end of the show. Check out the website, fanboyversus.com. Join us on Twitter at fanboyvs. Remember that in 3 weeks we will be gone, BotCon, so no show that week. But we also be back next week, so very exciting. So cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Enjoy our Easter issue, which had nothing to do with Easter. So, so thank you all for joining us, and please tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.